listening to pause. We pause for a second or two. This is episode 184, Christmas Thicket. We are inching closer towards Christmas. In about a week, we will have reached Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day. And it becomes like some kind of emotional peak. Today's episode is called Christmas Thicket, and this is some sort of metaphor for how to view this time just before and during Christmas time. During this time, and especially the last week before Christmas, our emotional insides sort of thicken. There are many interests, there are many layers, many people sort of gnawing and biting and fighting for space, not only outside but inside of us. That is a lot about what Christmas is about, that we have all these sort of interests and voices inside of us battling for attention. And it becomes like our metaphor. It becomes like a thicket, a Christmas thicket. And it leaves us feeling tied up, bogged down, like we have a hard time moving forward. Can feel very constricted, can feel trapped, can feel like we are not advancing towards what we want to be advancing towards, like we're standing still or being pushed down by the sheer magnitude and the sheer number of different wills sort of competing at the same time. But the time is moving. We are getting closer to Christmas, so this sort of thicket feeling will pass. It will just take some time first. And the Polaroid for today's episode, the emotional skill of today, is a specific skill, LAGOM. Specific skill LAGOM is under our long-term situation And it has to do about how we relate to our future, how we make plans. LAGOM is a Swedish word, and it translates as, or it means when something is just right, when something is just enough, when it is not too much but not too little either. That's when something is lagom, when it's just right, then it's lagom. So this specific skill is relevant in the context of our Christmas thicket, because the most common mistake we make in these times, in Christmas time, is that we try to do too much too fast. We try to do many things at the same time. We overextend ourselves. We multitask. We split our attention between several incompatible things. And it leaves us feeling scattered and broken. And overall, it's just not lagom at all. It just breaks us for vain reasons. It's not really realistic. It's not necessary. It's not desirable for anyone, least of all for ourselves. Often, when we overextend ourselves, we do it due to vain reasons, due to vanity. Often we are not needed in the sense that we might ourselves think. Often our vanity is relevant only to ourselves, and other people do not really care that much about if we do 7 things at once, or 5, or even 3, or just 1. Most people don't care. Not as much as we like to think, at least. Not when we think in our narrow, narcissistic sense. And here we pause. We pause for a second or two and just pause for context and just see that it's not uncommon, it's not strange at all that we become more narcissistic in Christmas time, that we become more narrow in Christmas time, because it just runs parallel to the sort of thick competing sense to Christmas, that we think we have to become more vain and narcissistic in order to make it through this sort of battle for space, battle for attention. And yes, that's one way to do it. If we like, we can just go full vanity and just try to pull everything off and just battle our hearts out. We could do that. But the thing is that this Christmas, the tension in society, the collective tension and the collective sort of sense of conflict in the air is increased as compared to last year, or the year before. So clawing and biting and sort of driving through in this narcissistic way, as we usually do, might not be so smart this year. Because every person has limits. Our bodies, our health has its limits. And sometimes we can be smarter. Sometimes we can choose something smarter than just stubbornly trying to do everything as we always do them. Specific skill LAGOM is a lot about just identifying what one or two things are the most essential parts, and then focusing more of our attention on those few things. Could be this year, as stress and pressure is so high, that if we try to pull off 7 things, let's say 7, then we might fail at the 1 or 2 that really matters, because we also try to pull off less important stuff. So specific skill LAGOM in this year's Christmas thicket could be to simply pause for a second or two and jot down on a piece of paper or something. What are your 1 or 2 most important things that actually are important to be sort of dealt with or addressed in a meaningful way this year? It's a lot about letting go of the minor things that don't really affect the major outcome, and focusing on what actually is important, not for vain reasons, but for real reasons. And you know what those reasons are. Those are the reasons of the heart, the reasons of our souls, that some things are simply not possible to live without. Some things are not possible to leave behind without us feeling a lost sense of coherency, a lost sense of wholeness. We do not need everything and everyone in order to feel whole, but we need 1 or 2 things in order to stay with that feeling of feeling coherent. And specific skill LAGOM through this Christmas thicket is about finding what are the 1 or 2 essential things. What are the 1 or 2 essential things for you to feel like yourself, not losing sight, not losing the bodily sensation, the physical sensation of feeling like yourself? Because this is not the time to space out and sort of give up your core feeling of integrity, your core feeling of confidence, core feeling of identity, core feeling of what all of this is about for you. You know what that is, and the sort of challenge is not trying to find it, but trying to sort of peel away all the stuff that doesn't matter, so that your energy is sort of focused in what is actually important. come Christmas time, and especially this year, with all the fear in the air, political fear, we are all confused right now. We are all fearful right now. And our Christmas thicket becomes very much tangled up, very much confused, especially this year. We will not be able to pull off things in the same way as we usually do. We are strained and compromised in ways we usually are not. We have to be real about that. This year is tougher. This year is humbling. We have had, past years, we have had a lot of infrastructure in place, sort of balancing us through outer structure. A lot of that balancing structure is now breaking down or about to be replaced with new infrastructure. So we are more at a loss this year. We are more left to our own devices this year. And that is why we need to peel off things that are not important, throw away maybe, or just put aside, gently put aside the 5 or 6 things we can live without this year, and focus on the 1 or 2 things that are essential for us feeling coherent, like ourselves. And that's it. Also, this year, unfortunately, the political climate is so tense, so charged right now, that we must plan for unforeseen events happening in our big politics. Could be that something terrible happens. Could be that the tension simply becomes too much for the world right now, and some tragedy, some devastation occurs. And in such an event, it's important that we have not overstrained ourselves, that we at least have some leeway, some space to be able to pause at such a moment, if that would be the case. So that we are not completely rocked by such an event. Of course, we always hope it will not be the case, but could be this year, unfortunately, that such a frightening event is occurring at the same time as our Christmas thicket. Could be the case. So we need to sort of have that in mind as we plan LAGOM this Christmas. And that way it could actually become quite enjoyable, at least, if we have planned for, that we are not endless in our energy. We cannot stand for anything. We are limited, and we need to remember that this year. It is tough, it is not fun, but it's the way it is right now. That's it for today. Thank you.